What is going on today, guys? We are back again with another video. In today's video, we are going to be talking very briefly about bin setups or tub setups for your Crested Gecko. In this bin is our young Crested Gecko, a red Dalmatian named Cascabel. She should be in there, or she is in there. We just seen her, but she'll be hiding, doing her little gecko thing in there. So, before you go ahead and decide whether you actually want a bin setup or a tub setup, you're going to need to do your own research with more than just watching this video to see if it appeals to you. You need to go ahead and do the research and figure out, the differences between the humidity of a bin versus a tank and the heat versus the bin and the tank, and the other benefits and cons of having a bin or a tub versus having a terrarium or a tank. So after you've done your own research from multiple different sources and you have decided to actually go ahead and do a bin or a tub setup, then here we go. We're going to show you exactly what you're going to need to look for and do when you get to the store. So the height requirement, you're going to need to ignore the length. You're going to need to focus on the height. Make sure there is enough height for your Crested Gecko to climb on. This being kind of the bare minimum height that you want. Again, ignoring the length and the width. This is like the bare minimum height you're going to want for a young Crested Gecko. Anything over like 8, 10, 12 months, you're going to want to go to a size bigger and then eventually upgrade them more and more and more with their, them ending at like, 30 grams, 30, 40 grams and being in a, full-size tote bin. So you've found your bin that is tall enough now. Let's discuss the next step. You're going to need to make sure you have these latching locks on the side. These only come on certain bins, but we recommend it. I actually won't even make a bin setup if they don't have these latching locks. It's just an extra guaranteed way for me to make sure that that lid is not going there and add an extra sense of security to my gecko as well. Or for my gecko as well. The next thing is you're going to need to make sure that there is no gapping between the side of the bin and the lid. So most lids are like this, where it's not all the way flush. It's got little spaces, but that is okay and actually adds additional ventilation, which is good if the side of the lid where it comes down right here is actually touching the side of the bin. If that is good or very close to it, then you're fine. You just basically need to make sure there's no small holes that your Crested Gecko will be able to get out of. So now you have your bin, you've made it home. Now we've got to discuss how to add the additional ventilation that you need to keep your bin at the right humidity, because you do need it to be able to dry out a little bit before your next spray. To do this, we added window screening at the top here. We just cut a hole out, place down the screening, and then tape the edge of the screening using ductwork tape, the aluminum foil tape. Again, looks pretty messy. You can actually do the same thing with silicone if you have more time and stuff like that. But you need to be very careful when cutting out that hole, because if you do not heat up the plastic or the knife or do it right, it's going to just crack the plastic lid. So guys, make sure you're heating up the knife or the saw or whatever you're using to cut that. Heat up the plastic before drilling if you need to. Do not risk cracking the lid, or you're going to be walking all the way back over to the store to go get another lid. After that is kind of set up, the next step is very easy, and this is just adding enough ventilation to the perfect amount of humidity staying in your tank versus leaving at the proper time. So we normally achieve this by just drilling a few holes in the front and along the back. Sometimes for some bins, you're going to need to do the sides. You're going to need to do multiple layers of drilling holes. But basically, guys, you just need to drill enough of them to allow enough ventilation through the tank without it drying out too quickly, but you still need it to dry out before your next spray. So guys, after all of that is done, you have your bin set up, ready to go. Let's talk about some stuff you can add inside. Because obviously the sticky plants aren't going to stick. You can't really plant plants in here very well and stuff like that. We're going to show you exactly what we do on the inside of this. So again, our gecko is he's normally in this tube. Yeah, there he is. Hanging out in the tube, doing his little gecko things. There he goes. Anyways, so obviously we use paper towel tube. This will help, we can actually spray that tube and throw it out if he's having a rough time shedding to make sure it all gets off his feet. That's why we like paper towel tubes. I also have some burlap around to help him kind of, give him something scratchy to kind of get shed off if he needs some help. I got some cork bark. Got obviously lots of fake plants. These work great. You just need to be careful, and you're going to need to, replace those every now and again, or else they can get moldy. But they are just dowels from the dollar store. Again, like $1.50 gets you like 6 of them. So you just put a couple in there and throw them out. I normally throw them out each tank clean for this guy. And then obviously the fake plants around. And then I actually have deli containers in the 2 corners flipped upside down to give them a little feeding ledge over here and then something to climb on over there. Other than that, I do have a reptile hide under all this, kind of helping to support this plant up. And then another little deli container flipped upside down, and some little plastic decorations. He absolutely loves it in here. He, a lot of times he's either up here in this plant or he's hiding in one of the tubes I put around. But yeah, he absolutely loves it, guys. That is a bin setup and how to kind of create a bin setup. We hope this helped you guys, and we hope, to see your guys' bin setups in the future. Until next time, peace.